Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Own Your Essence podcast, where we get to have deep transformational conversations with some of our favorite people. I am your host, April DeMille, and today we have our guest co-host.
Lee Walczack, hello.
Yay! He's back. He's back again. Woohoo!
I'm back. Yay.
I love it. Also, just for those of you that can see my bedazzled face right now, this is a once in a lifetime thing. I have to get dressed up to go to my favorite person's company party, my boyfriend Jeff. So we're going to his SpaceX company party. So it's themed. It's going to be fun. It's like galactic, cosmic, ET, all the things. So I'm looking very yeah, glittery and glamorous right now. So anyway, just don't mind that. Um, but but today we are going to be talking to a lady named Sheila Marie. Sheila is a world recognized forensic consultant and psychic medium and an active minister with Interfaith Ministry, a master teacher, and a spiritual counselor. So, very cool things are about to happen.
So cool.
Very cool things. Oh, hello. We were just talking about you.
Hello. Thank you for
Hi.
having me.
Yes, thank you
Yep.
for being here. We just read your introduction,
Oh,
and I wanted to see if you wanted to go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got into this. It's
oh my
quite a
gosh.
journey, quite a
Oh my
journey.
gosh. That's a whole lifetime.
Yeah, it
But I'll
is.
try I'll just tell you a little, I'll tell everybody a little bit about what I do. I tell everybody this when they come for like a gallery. A gallery like when people come for like a group reading. So this is what I tell them. It's very repetitive. So basically, I'm what they call a forensic psychic medium. And what that means is I used to be a police officer years ago. Now, what I do is I incorporate my policing with my mediumship, and I act as um, a conduit for spirit. So basically, I write maps, I draw faces, I get dreams, and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's kind of what I do as a day job. I also do mentorship as well. I'm a teacher in what I do. I've been teaching for over 25 years now. That's my passion. And also, my passion right now, I'm actually a peace ambassador for the International Torch for Peace. So I go around and I do prayers for the world children. Like I was just in the where was it called? The Cathedral Basilica Sacred Heart, New Jersey, just recently, in the Washington Cathedral, saying my prayer for peace and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. What else do you want me to say? I don't, you got to ask me questions because I need a lead here.
You're good. No, you're good. So actually, I have a lead for you. You
Okay,
started
good.
as a police officer. Can we kind of start there?
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, I never, like my mom, like when I was little, like she would always call me psychic. And I would be like, don't call me that because we're very Roman Catholic. I'm like, and I'm going to hell if I'm called that, right? That's a horrible thing to call your daughter, right? And so I never had been to like a psychic reading or anything like that because it was like voodoo to me. And I was a police officer, and I still at that time I was intuitive, but I didn't know that I was able to connect, with higher realms or anything. Not at all. But when I was 11 years old, my dad, he was actually a chief of police down in Easton in Mass, and he would, yeah, right, Lee? And I would visit him on the weekends, and he was actually learning how to be a hypnotist on the side for hit and run cases. And
Nice.
so he would use me as his guinea pig, and I would sit there, and he'd say, "Okay, Sheila, close your eyes," and he'd get me into a meditative state. And I just thought everybody did that with their dad. I didn't realize that I was starting to connect and go into that unseen world of energy. So later on, when I had my daughter, actually, I had just left policing because I was a stay-at-home mom, and that was more to me than anything. And I'll tell you, oh my God, you have to hear. Are you ready for a great story?
Absolutely, always.
Okay, this is the best story. This is really how it happened. So my sister-in-law was very new age, right? And of course, I didn't believe in anything like that. And one time I was on my phone in my bedroom. I was talking to her on the phone, and all of a sudden, my daughter was with me. She was about a year old, running around the room, and it was nighttime. And all of a sudden, I heard lightning outside. And I'm like, oh my God, is it lightning and thunder at your house? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I went over to the window and it was raining. But when I went to the window, went to shut the window, the rain stopped. I'm like, that was weird. So I stopped, you know? So I went back and laid on the bed. And at the end of my bed was a doorway to go in the bathroom. And I'm sitting there like this talking to her. And all of a sudden, me and my daughter both saw there was this light in the bathroom about 4 feet high. And so here's the tree right here. It went around like this and went like that. So I'm like, oh my God. It was like a ball of light. She's like, what is wrong? I'm like, I was afraid to talk because I was afraid it would see me, right? Because it was like hiding from me. And she's like, are you seeing ghosts? And I'm thinking, I don't know. And all of a sudden, this
You're
white
like,
light lifted
maybe.
up. Yeah, I lifted up and just flew across the room. My daughter watched it, and that was it. So next thing I know, a couple months later, I get this gift certificate from my sister-in-law for Christmas, meet your spirit guide class, right? And I'm thinking, she's out of her flipping mind. I'm not
You're
going to
like,
anything
this
like that.
hippy dippy.
Yeah. I'm like, no, thank you, right? So I take the gift certificate and I put it in the cupboard and I said, yeah, right, whatever. So a year later rolls by and I'm like, I was kind of scared of her because she's very blunt. And I said, yeah, I better go to that class, right? Before Christmas comes. So I made the appointment and I get in the classroom. And it's one of these new age shops. They're more prominent up in Massachusetts more than here in Florida, I noticed. I
Mm.
guess it's so different up there than it is down here where I'm at right now. But anyways, so I get in the classroom and the lady's sitting there and what does she do? She takes us in a meditation. And I said, oh my God, I know how to do this. So I go in the meditation, this and that. And when I get deep into the meditation, it starts taking off for me. I'm seeing things that I'm not subconsciously thinking, this and that. And I came out crying, like, oh my God, this shit is real, right? And I'm like, oh my God, right? And I have to let you know, before I went in, I prayed to Mary and Jesus and everybody, all the saints. I said, please, if I'm not supposed to see anything, if this is dark people, don't let me see anything. Shut me down. And the opposite happened.
Mm.
And so, yeah, so from there, I started taking classes, this and that, and it just happened for me. And I came home and I told my husband, I feel bad for him. I said, I have to do this. He goes, you have to do what? And I said, I have to do mediumship. He goes, what's that? And I said, well, it's like readings and stuff. He's like, oh, great. He was a police officer too, right? And I'm like, it's okay. You can divorce me if you need to, because I totally get it. Because I was a skeptic too. I said, but if I don't do this, I'll die. I mean, it came that strong in me.
Yeah.
And when I started connecting through the classes, for me, it was a calling. It was like, if I didn't do this, I might as well just give it up now. For
Mhm.
me, my calling was to teach everyone how to connect. That's where my passion was towards this. And that's why I continued to learn and go to class, because I wanted everyone to know that everybody's able to connect. It's not, I mean, yes, some of us, it's a calling where like, I never thought in a million years I'd be doing forensics.
Mm.
But uh, it's like different piano players. You get your beginner, you got your semi-pro, and your professional. But
Mhm.
for me, it was more about teaching people to connect to the energy. And then lo and behold, Spirit gave me other things along the way that I needed to do. And one of them was forensic mediumship. And so that's what happened to me. It's
Can
crazy.
I can I ask you a quick question? Because there was actually a time in my life, I want to say it was pretty loud right around 2019, where so I tend to really attract very traumatized souls. And so I channel through all the means to dreams, all the things.
Hmm.
And I used to get really down on myself sometimes because a lot of times I wouldn't know where that information was supposed to go.
Hmm.
And I had to learn that it didn't necessarily have to go anywhere. I was already being of service by connecting with the spirits and helping them kind of relive that story. And
Sure.
and I didn't know that right at the time. But then later I did get very evidential stuff about like some kids that were missing, things like that happened in Utah. And I remember thinking I really should be working on like cold cases or missing person cases. Like I
Yeah.
really should be doing this. And I remember just feeling like it was such heavy work, especially for me at the time
Mhm.
because I was triggered by my own daughter's death. So I
Yeah.
was like, maybe I shouldn't do this. So I kind of put that on the back burner, and I did
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
actually help with a couple cases unofficially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but if somebody was wanting to get into that, where would they start?
Well, they can come to my classes. I actually do mentorship. That's a great place to start if they really want to. I offer that on my website and SheilaMarieMedium.com. But I'll tell you, for me, that didn't happen like that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was doing readings because I was learning how to read because I wanted to teach people how to connect, right? And then the next thing I know, I'll tell you a story. This just happened in Massachusetts, in Sudbury, Massachusetts. I got a call from a historical society and they said, "Oh, could you come out every Sunday and stand in a field and tell us what you see?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." I'm like, "It's green. Oh, that sounds fun, right?" And
I
I
get
wasn't get yeah. Oh,
I
sorry,
just
what was
get to
that?
go play outside. Okay.
Yeah, and it was every Sunday, and it was an hour away from home. Because when I came home, I was the mom. No one, I never practiced mediumship in the house or anything like that, you know. So I would go there, and I'd stand there, and basically I would download stuff from Spirit, from the Revolutionary War, yada yada, and all that kind of stuff. And one time, I didn't know it, but one of the guys, they had me out there for 6 months every Sunday, okay? And they were priming me and they were building a relationship with me, and I didn't I was a fool. Well, not a fool, but it was meant to be. But at the time, I didn't realize that one of the guys was looking for Babe Ruth's piano, lost piano.
Ah, yes.
And so I went out to this. They had a trust with me where they wouldn't tell me where we're going, but I knew I was safe with them because if I don't know any information, it's all downloaded, right?
Mhm.
So I all channeled, you know. So I walk out to this body of water, and the first thing I do is I see a flash of the green monster, which is Fenway Park in Massachusetts. Okay, it's like a big wall. And I said, "Oh my God, this is that baseball thing. I don't want anything to do with this." And you have to understand, nobody knew I was a medium. Nobody. I lived a double life because I was in a very political world. If people knew, they would dump me as a friend. They'd be like, "Whoa, she's crazy," you
Yeah.
know? So I didn't tell anybody. And so they're like, "Oh, his name was Kevin." He goes, "Can you just give me 10 minutes and with Spirit?" And I said, "Okay, we'll ask Spirit, then we'll get back to work." Okay. So I pick up a stick and I go in my head and I got nautical marks from Spirit. Well, I didn't know it, but they had a permit for the pond. They had state divers lined up. The next day, with the information I had, they went out. Now, you have to understand, there's zero visibility in this water, and the Environmental State Police had been searching for it for 30 years, okay?
Yeah.
And they couldn't find it. In 10 minutes, they found the veneers with what Spirit showed me.
Yeah.
So this message went all over the world. I was in all the newspapers there. I was devastated because I didn't want anyone to know. But the universe said, "Listen, woman, you're coming out today."
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
didn't have a choice, you know?
Yeah.
So it was like I wanted to crawl under a rock type
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
so the next thing that happened, this is how I fell into forensics. This is why I'm telling you this. Next thing I know, I had a studio in an old mill in Medway. And I get knocks at my door. I started getting calls and knocks on my door from agents, big agents, not just FBI, bigger, you know? Can you
Mhm.
help us find this? Can you do this? And it's not all about finding, but it's about information and data, you know? So that's how forensics came. It came to me. God
Right.
just put it in my lap.
Yeah.
Boom, you're doing this. And it's really funny because the first class I had gone to, remember the one with the meditation, the lady said to me, "You're going to be working with the police someday." And I looked at her, I said, "You're out of your freaking mind." I said, "I'm not doing police anymore. I'm home, stay-at-home mom now."
You're like,
She
I
was,
don't do that stuff anymore.
yeah, and
But
she was
you,
right.
but you brought up a good point because you were talking about how the universe had to just like make you come out. And that's
Yeah,
exactly like how it happened to me.
yeah.
I basically, well, for one, I didn't come out of the psychic closet till I was 38.
Oh, there you go.
And,
Yeah.
and,
I was 36.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
see, I'm glad I'm not the only late bloomer in the world.
No, I think I actually, most of my students that come to me are around 35 years old.
Yeah.
Mm.
So there's some type of blooming that's happening, even though some people are seeing spirits at an earlier age and
Oh
connecting,
yeah.
there's a blooming thing going on in the 30s,
For
I
sure.
believe. Yeah.
I was definitely born on, right? So I
Yeah.
was doing all the things very, very early.
Yeah.
But I was not in a family that had other psychics and gifted before me,
Yeah.
so they didn't see the things I saw, and I was
Yeah.
taught very early to shut my mouth, and I was also conditioned that you're the devil if you're psychic and all the things,
Yeah.
right? So it took me till I was 38 to finally just be like, "Hey, this is what it is. Fuck off. Take it or leave it." Yeah, this is what it is.
What
So,
about you, Leah? You're a medium too, correct?
I am, yeah. So I don't know. I came out a bit earlier. I was I was 21, I
Oh,
think, and
wow.
yeah, yeah. So, but I had a similar experience to you. I would say I totally relate to your story in certain ways where you led this double life because I was also doing the same thing, and I know that I've talked about this with April, but I would be at my two retail jobs during the day or whatever it was, and then I would be in people's living rooms, like channeling their departed loved ones. And I would be telling them, like, let's not say that I did this, like, let's keep this because I don't want people in my life to know there were people in my life that, I was very concerned about knowing. And like you
Yeah.
said, thinking like, oh, you're crazy. And so it is interesting how everything kind of comes
Yeah.
about.
That's
I
the biggest thing for me. That's the hardest thing for me was the everyone's gonna know. Everyone's
yeah,
gonna know. And then once you get over that, I look at it myself, wait a second, I'm helping thousands of people.
yeah,
And if they don't understand that, then that's their issue. It's not mine. And you
right.
are who you are. You can't hide who you are.
Yeah.
And what I try to teach in my classes is even those people that are non-believers, they're just closed. That's all. And they
Yeah.
can connect too
mm,
because we're all energy. We're light inside us. We're our soul, our Atman, our energy inside us is who we are. And these bodies are just our astronaut suits. We're
Yeah.
connected to a much higher vibration of energy,
For
you
sure.
know?
Yeah, and one thing that you said too, you said, if I don't do this, I'll die. And I
yeah,
actually had that experience too because that's kind of why I came out when I did,
Yeah.
because I was quite literally dying. I
Yeah.
was like everything, every foundation, every trauma like that could possibly happen, homelessness, losing family, losing child, all the things was being stripped from me because I was like, I don't want to be psychic. I don't want to be this. And I was constantly trying to push it away and give it back. And then they were like, well, we're going to force you to figure it out. And
Yeah.
just everything was being stripped from me. And I was like, okay, well, the only thing I've never done was lean into it. So let's try that.
I
And that
almost
changed
I
everything.
almost think sometimes that spirit chooses you because of your past,
Right.
because you've had these circumstances happen to you, and it'll be interesting to see how many people you help with it as you heal too, and
Right.
you heal through them, you
Right.
know?
For sure. Every time that I do a reading or I get to, coach with somebody, it feels like that.
Yeah.
What it's interesting you even say that, Sheila, too, because I think I was just talking to you, April, about this earlier, but about how, I feel, I don't know if you agree, Sheila, but that with mediumship, especially spirit, will use our own experiences, our own filters, I call them, to kind of get messages across. And I was talking with April about how I feel like I have certain strengths in my mediumship because of my past, because I've dealt with like this experience. So I know what this feels like in my own awareness very strongly. So
Yes.
it's very easy for spirit to kind of get, you
Mhm.
know, this across me. Do you find that that's similar with you?
Oh, absolutely. I've had it, I've had a traumatic life. Really, when I look back and everything and I think, oh my God, I know how to handle this. Right. But
Right.
also when you're in the clear seas, when you're doing the clear sentient, clear audience, this and that, you're actually using your medium, they're using you as a channel and your mediumship channel to connect on higher levels of that pain too. You know what I mean? And you can actually go on the outside looking in, you know what I mean? And but I totally agree. Like I tell all my students, someone will be really clairvoyant, so they're just seeing visions all the time, But I don't know if I think I'm going off the question. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
This
Yeah.
happens a lot. The ADHD kicks in, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And
No, you're singing our tune. We're right there with you.
okay, good. So like I have a lot of students, they'll say, "Oh, I'm clairvoyant, I'm clairaudient." I said, "Listen, You're all the clairsees. It's
Hmm.
just at different parts in your journey, Spirit's going to be working on one of them or two of them a lot more. But the goal is to get them all working at the same time, you know?
Yeah, and actually, I will say that I want to add to that. Sometimes it depends on the sitter and the spirit
Absolutely.
that you're working with too, because they will connect in different ways, and it's a preference even for them. So it even depends on that too.
Yeah, I mean, I've done over thousands of readings, and none of them are ever the same.
No.
The energy, because people are different, their
Yeah,
energy is different, but you'll have strengths, and I understand because your life strengths go with it, you know, whatever on your tool belt. I truly, truly do believe, like even with the forensics, like I never look for a case. I allow the universe to come to me. If I'm meant to work on a case, it'll come to me. I
yeah,
don't try to force it. And because spirit, the universe knows exactly that you're the one that can help this person because what's on your tool belt. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and those are your gifts in a sense where you make, I'm like, what is that? Oh, sorry.
This is your book.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
So
And
speaking of that, can you share the story in here about the missing boy?
okay, well, I'm not going to share that one, but I can share a better one
Okay.
if you like
Whatever,
that one,
whatever.
because in case
Yep.
the people read one, because
Yeah.
that one's okay, but I got a better one for you if
Okay.
you'd like that. So
Yeah.
there was
Share what you can, of course.
yeah, so I'll tell you, you'll notice with my cases, a lot of people will say, I was disappointed in your book because I thought it was going to be all about your cases. And I'm like, but I go, well, that's another book. I have only a couple in that book because basically it's about me connecting. And I use that book actually in my seminars and workshops
Well,
too.
you
So
actually
people
have a
can
lot of
connect.
practical tools and
Yeah.
skills for especially for beginners that are looking to try
Yeah.
to connect with themselves. So it's really great for that.
Yeah, and so yeah, so I use that in my workshops. But I have a I when I talk about my cases, I never use the exact name or location because I consider all my cases live still, even when
Hmm.
they're gone, because people are connected to that, you know, and I have to protect myself too. But I'll tell you, there was this one case, actually one of my first cases that I started receiving dreams in. And I had agent come to me, and when they come, I have a certain actually um, I've actually formed a way to do forensics. So no one ever taught me how to do forensics. Spirit did. So I
Mhm.
actually had an assistant, Kevin, I think I mentioned him earlier, and he would ask me a certain question a certain way, and then I would start connecting in a different way that I normally would opposed to a reading. And so I started adapting this special forensic behavior, and I put it under my tool belt. And then basically what's happened is I've made a blueprint on how to connect through forensics. And not only that is I teach the process of like let's just say missing persons, for instance, because there's so many different styles of forensics because it's data and information, you know. And so like I'll teach them how to do reports. I'll teach them how to do the mapping with their mediumship. You know what I mean? So it's kind of really cool. But anyways, okay, so I'm sorry. So I get this agent come in and I said, okay, what I'll take you through what happens. Okay. So I'll say to them, what's the person's first name only? Don't tell me anything else about the case, just the first person. I don't even know if it's a missing person or what it is. They'll gives me the first name. I said, okay. And I also take their information too, because I may not know this person. They may not be a contact for me or agent because everyone's suspect. And I've had that several times happen before where people will come in for information and they're linked to the murder or the crime.
Oof.
So it becomes like a policing thing too, as well, which again, like you said, Lee, my past being a
Yeah.
police officer, investigator is coming in off my tool belt, you know? So anyways, I get in and I go in, I said, I'm going to sit in front of you and I'm just going to draw. And so I'll ask spirit what I need. I'll start channeling and I'll just start drawing, whether that might be maps, faces, this and that. And I'll say, okay, I've gotten this so far. And but don't tell me anything. And so that was that. And then I come back in. I'm sorry. Then I said, let's meet up in 2 weeks. Well, what happens in that 2 weeks? I started getting dreams, and I've gotten premonitions before, but not dreams like this. Yeah, I was in a dream and I'm seeing a little boy's head in front of me, and this little boy is taking me exactly what was where I was in a big city. That's all I can tell you. I was in a big city, and he was taking me and showing me instance like a frame of a school bus, and then boom, I'm at a bridge. I'm here, I'm there, and it was so clear. It was like when I get in the dream, it's like whew, football lights come on, and I'm like walking, and I can hear everything clearly, and it's just the weirdest thing ever. It was awesome, actually, and and the information just came so rapidly. But at the end, I would be like screaming, And my husband at the time, the poor guy, oh my God, you're having a dream, I think, like those dreams they have on TV. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God. So I'm writing everything down. Well, I had a dream every night for 2 weeks, and I begged God. I said, please, I don't want any more dreams. I can't
You're
sleep
like,
in.
no more.
Yeah, I'm like, no more. I can't take it. So they come in, this and that. So make a long story short, they gave me a lineup, and I had already drawn this person's face and everything, the person,
Hmm.
the predator, and they actually got a confession out of him.
Hmm.
And this case was 39 years old. It was a cold case.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is if there's missing people out there, it's never over. You know what I mean? So that was pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, actually, I'm working on a case right now where I just got a dream the other night too. So
So when you
it's,
do the dreams, and I'm just going to talk about this from like my standpoint,
yeah.
when I'm channeling, they show me through their eyes as though I'm them. Is that what happens to you?
Every dream is different.
Okay.
So like just like I'm working on a case right now, so I'll tell you what happened to me the other night. So there was someone holding my hand this time.
Hmm.
And I was talking to the person, but they were showing me things and I could hear things clear as this, you know what I mean? And so that was different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll see the person's head in front of me, or they're talking, or sometimes I've had it happen where I am the spirit, but
Yeah.
not all the time. More I'm the observer and they're showing me.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll show me what happened. Like the other night, it was really weird. They're showing me what I need to know. Like they're showing me images of what I need to know. And like, okay, so for instance, I can tell you this. So I was holding someone's hand and I'm talking to this person not knowing who the person is, and all of a sudden I see all these the tops heads of men, and I'm like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I'm saying in my dream, what's going on here? And I turn around and look, and all of a sudden these clouds dissipate in front of me, and I'm still holding this person's hand, and I heard a train whistle, like a thing. And then next thing I know, I'm seeing a train at the end, like a steam train. And then I woke up. Well, it turns out, uh, I just found out about 2 hours ago that the location of where I'm searching for, unbeknownst to me, is right next to a train track.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's a steam engine track.
Yeah. So like the
So
old locomotive.
yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, bring it on, spirit. I'm gonna be getting, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get more information. And I'll tell you, I was scared at dreams first, but I love getting them because they're accurate. You
Yeah.
and you
They're
and
so
you know you're not.
accurate.
Yeah, and you're channeling. You're not even channeling them. Spirit is. That's how you know when you have a calling with friends. It's because spirit's bringing it to you.
Yeah.
You know.
So, and
It's
that's
really
kind of
really
like
cool.
goes back to like how it started for me because I was having extremely vivid dreams. I'll call them dreams, but I was just channeling, right?
Yeah.
So, but they would always put me in their body. So I was always
Yep.
them. And
Okay.
that's how I would go through. So I was the one being tortured. I was the one being murdered. I was the one being
Yep.
all the things. So they showed me everything they went through as though I
Yep.
was them so I could experience their trauma.
Right.
And I knew I had the ability to say, "Hey, I don't need to
Yeah.
do it this way," but I don't ever need to do that. Like it doesn't
Right.
scare me. So
I,
I'm
I
just
want to I want to say if I need to know something like a feeling or they'll show it to me. I won't be them, but I'll feel it. Does
they'll
that
show it
make
to you
sense?
different. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If I'm scared or if they're scared or if it's calm, or if my tummy needs to hurt or something, a part of me, I'll feel it like that, but
Yeah.
I'm not them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You get to be more of the observer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of
I
cool.
I am curious, Sheila, because I kind of like April. When I first even started my mediumship a few years into it, I worked again unofficially, but with a handful of families that had other family members that were victims of like cold case murders and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I stopped because it just got too heavy for me. And obviously,
Mm,
you're dealing with a more dense, kind of heavy
yeah.
topic. And then I think, too, to be able to do this work, typically you have a heightened sensitivity, someone who's very
Mm-hmm.
compassionate and, wants like peace and all the thing, like you were talking about, I think earlier, that you're a peace
Mm-hmm.
ambassador and things. So I'm curious how you actually separate the work from your everyday life. Like how do you kind of, I mean, not,
Yeah.
do you know what I
I
mean?
I totally understand what you
Yeah.
mean. I've been asked this question before because it's true. It's really interesting because when I'm aside from doing just readings, how you can cry and you can feel everything. So
Mm,
when I know that I'm working on a forensic case, I automatically become the police officer. I've been
mm,
trained to keep my emotions to the side. Do you know what I mean? And it's not that I'm being cold, but I'm just focused on the facts. And so I worked on this one missing persons case and it was actually live. It was right down the street from my studio, which I was couldn't believe it. And not only am I feeling everything of oh my gosh, the rush of the energy coming in me and receiving the information from spirit, but I'm also feeling the heaviness of the community.
mm,
Like if I go to a missing person, the darkness, sometimes if I go somewhere, I can taste death. It's really, really heavy. And so when I'm working on a case can take from 1 hour to 6 months
mm,
and I don't let go of it. I just stay focused on what spirit's trying to show me. And then at the end, I'll have a release because I'll just say, oh my God, what the hell was that? That just happened? That's crazy. And it's almost like I just shut my eye to it because it is too heavy. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I just have a ritual now where I thank spirit for helping me thank you for using me as a channel to help these people. And then once it's closed, I close it and then I move on to the next one.
mm,
Because if I just stay with it emotionally, it's very heavy and death is really hard, especially if it's active and the people mourning. It's not easy. But if I find myself getting emotionally attached to it, I just take a few couple deep breaths and I just ask spirit to take that from me you
mm,
know and but there it's not easy, but I don't carry it around with me because I know that I'm doing my best and I'm trying to help, and that's where my focus has to be. And I even tell the people sometimes in the beginning, I'll say, I don't want you to think that I'm cold or anything because these people are bawling their eyes out in front of me. They're
Right. Yeah.
devastated.
Yeah.
And I said, I just don't want you to think that I'm not understanding you. I said, but I'm keeping myself emotionally detached from this case so I can work for you.
Yep.
But my heart goes out to you,
So honestly,
you know?
that's actually really great point too, because that's a lot of times why I won't do readings for friends and family, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
absolutely have a bias. I
Yep.
absolutely am still human and I want to
Yep.
see everybody win too. And like my filters and my emotions will sometimes get in the way of that and I have to do it completely different.
Yeah. I find that it's really hard to read for people, because you already know
It's
their stuff,
well, right. Yeah.
and so it's like, oh, sometimes I'll say, oh, I have a student that can do it for you. Really,
yeah.
because it's just easier.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah. That wouldn't be easy at all.
But I'll be honest with you. I look at it this way. If these people didn't come to me, then spirit doesn't. If these people are coming to me, spirit saying that I can handle it, that
Then
I
you
can
can.
I can
Yeah.
remain professional and handle this. And that's key is remaining professional. And like when I use my blueprint, I have phases that I go through. You know what I mean? And professionally too. And the client knows, even though they're going through emotional trauma, this and that, I'll give them their space, their breathing space, but then they understand that I'm the professional, that I'm not just walking around as I know this is horrible. Yeah, this is oh God, this there's nothing wrong with psychics. Okay, we're all wonderful people, right? We're doing our best, but I can't stand it when I go to like I'm actually at a murder or something, and there's a psychic going, well, I'm feeling this and I'm feeling that. And it's so funny because I don't do that when it comes to forensics. It's all, I'll write it all down on paper. I'm funneling it in a different way. I treat
Mhm.
it different than I would a reading. Do you know what I mean? But yet I'm still
Mm.
using spirit.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with that, but for me it's different because I like to get the needle down in the haystack, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it'll go through its process. Like okay, so for instance, I'm at a river. I'm trying to tell you, I'm at a river, I'm talking to this policeman and I'm like, "Oh, don't tell me anything." And I'm just drawing maps. And then I'll
Mm.
say, "Do you understand this?" He'll go, "Yeah." I'll say, "Okay." Then I won't say anything. I don't want anyone to tell me anything
Yeah. You don't
until
like
the
being
end.
influenced. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to think it subconsciously. I never
Right.
watch TV or
Yeah, we
anything
don't
like
either.
that because I don't want the investigator in me to assume, you know?
Yeah.
That's why dreams are wonderful because
They're
it's
great.
like it's a gift.
Yeah, well, because they don't really have to work as hard to get through all your reference systems and your filters and your
Yeah.
influences. Like it's just there.
They're saying, "Here you go, Sheila."
Yeah.
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 I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
So
But it's not easy.
yeah, yeah. And thank you for that answer. I'm always interested in how people kind of move that energy because, it is difficult to work in that space. So
Yeah, I think that you just have to remain professional and know that you just have to go in and do your job.
yeah, yeah,
That's really and then once it's over, like your job.
yeah, yeah. So just to pivot for a second, because you spoke about how you teach people how to
Mhm.
connect and that we can all connect. And I feel like your energy gets like really light when you talk about that. Like I can feel like it's very much your passion, which I love.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
Yeah, just observation. So I'm not trying to like tune into anyone. So I apologize if it came across like that. But just,
No,
as a compliment,
yeah.
um, it feels like it comes from a heart-centered place. So I'm curious, like, well, first of all, I'm curious what it looks like, when you're working with people. And do you find that people come to you for similar things? Like, is it something that, there's like themes that people, come to you most for, or is it all different?
Yeah. Well, I would say, when it comes to readings, you get your regular people, they want to know who's around them, their mother, their fathers, or that, whatever. And when it comes to readings, I get a lot of forensics, but I also get a
Mm.
lot of people who just want to know who's around them. But it's really interesting because you'll get themes like for the day, it'll be a theme. Everybody's aunt comes through.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Or everybody named Sally. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I find that it just depends. I want to say I'm kind of all over the board, I guess, in a sense, when it comes to readings,
mm,
which is I love doing the readings though too, because a lot of times it may have a theme to do with the case I'm working on too.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say every day is a different theme. I'm sure you get that too,
Which is
right,
kind of
Lee?
nice because it breaks up the monotony. Like it's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
Always something different.
yeah. I do get the themes too. So it's so funny that you said that because I
Yeah.
wasn't always aware of that either. So there was a time where I was like, am I just making this up? But I can't be making it up because it's resonating with people. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and then other people, I'd speak to, and they'd be like, yeah, there are themes that kind of come in sometimes. And
Yeah,
I'm like, that's so
synchronicity,
Yeah.
funny.
definitely.
It took me a couple years to catch on to that one too. In fact, I feel like I only really learned that solidly like 4 years ago because I was also doing the same thing. I'm like, all my readings are the same right now, or they're all trying to go through divorces at the same time or whatever, and the themes would
Yeah.
just keep coming up in groups together, and
Yeah.
I just never really connected. It took me a while to figure it out.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the flow of energy as well,
Yeah.
Mm,
within and around you. And sometimes it's the energy within us that we're bringing that to us, but other
Hmm.
times it's not when you're just getting like every robin.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's going, you know what I mean? And it's kind of weird, but it all has to do with that synchronicity and the energy flow of the unseen,
Yeah.
and really it's all unseen, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the energy. It's kind of really cool, and it's our purpose in a sense where a lot of people, are feeling the unseen daily, but it's not their purpose to do readings. It's not their
Yeah.
purpose to connect with other
Right.
people. But yet it's still our existence and who we are as beings. We're beings
Right.
of light, and
Right.
that consciousness. So it's even on a higher realm, everything. I remember when I first started, people would say, "What's a spirit guide?"
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I don't know, So I'd be like, well, okay. So my conclusion is spirit is energy. It is the universe of love, and it's the universe of connection. And there's something much higher than us, especially when we're receiving dreams and we're not asking for it. Someone's doing something up there,
Right. Someone's
right?
kicking some shit around somewhere.
Yeah, right. In the
Yeah.
Akashic records up there.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I forget what I was talking about. Do you remember?
You were talking about spirit guides, then you said you didn't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I tell everyone, your spirit guide doesn't have to be an Indian or an angel. Because I used to never see that. I'm like, why am I not getting an Indian? And it can be your mother, your father, your sister. It can be anybody. And it's just energy. It's a collaboration of souls. It's a collaboration of energy in the universe and it could be your higher existence, your higher power that's guiding you. Your guardian angel could possibly just be ourselves on a higher
It's
level,
usually what I think that it is. So,
Yeah. So what do we don't know, right? So we just kind of go with the flow and absolutely it's your higher self.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I was actually going to ask this earlier, Sheila. It doesn't necessarily have to do with what you were just speaking about, but I'm curious because you were a police officer. So it sounds like, and you said that you were skeptical of some of this stuff to begin with, right? And so it sounds like maybe a little more left-brained in that sense, maybe a bit more analytical and all that. So I'm curious, like when you first started receiving information or you first started down this path, because I see this so much with people and myself included, even sometimes still, where, I'll get in my head and I'll be like, am I just making this up? Like, is this, and, that's where the evidence piece tends to come in and sort of reaffirm things and all that. But did you experience that,
Oh my
especially at
God.
first?
Yes. Oh my God. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, when I first started going to mediumship class, I'm not kidding you. Someone said to me, "Are you going to come to mediumship class?" I'm like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Right. So I get into class and I'm like, how do I know I'm doubting everything I'm seeing? How do I know I'm not doubting that? And this is what I teach in my class. If you're not subconsciously thinking it, you're not creating it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to truly, honestly be honest with your being, be honest with yourself. Did you subconsciously think that earlier? Did you pull that out of your records or is spirit showing you? And how I do that is I always say, okay, spirit, show me in two different ways that I'm not thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so I trust my guides and I try to tell my students, your relationship, I'm not your teacher, I'm just your guide. Your teachers are your guides, is your higher power. I said, so the best thing you can do is establish that relationship with your guides. And how can you do that? You have to have faith in your higher power. And
Mm-hmm.
once you can truly have 305 billion% faith in your higher power, you'll have the trust. And then along with that comes the no doubt, because you're establishing a relationship. But mostly for me, like even like I work alone a lot, like when I'm doing forensics. So I'll say, Spirit, show me something I'm not thinking. And then I'll say, oh yeah, I wasn't thinking that. You know what I mean? I'm like, so that to me is like confirmation, in the sense. So that's one of the things in my blueprint that I do use, you know.
I love that. I love that. I might adopt that actually. Show
Yeah,
me.
please
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Show me in two ways that I'm not thinking. Because of course, our subconscious is always, in the awareness always active. So of course, our mind can get in there sometimes. And, I've heard it explained different ways about how different people individually discern, like, is this from spirit or is this, from myself? But I really like that way of,
Yeah.
show me two different things that I'm not thinking that aren't from my records.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
then you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Were you thinking that subconsciously or not?
Yeah.
And that's the key. And I don't know, but when I teach the students, what I love to watch is people grow as beings too, because
Mhm.
they're being brutally honest with themselves. Are you connecting or are you not connecting? Because I can guide you to connect if you're truly honest with me. But spirit's
Mhm.
waiting for you to be honest with yourself first.
Right.
You know what I mean? Are you subconsciously thinking? I remember in the beginning, that was the biggest thing for me was I doubted what I was seeing, but everyone in the room knew exactly what I was saying. They understood their father, their grandfather, and they understand the unique things about them. And I still doubted it. I'm like, that can't be. But if these people understand it, it's something. And I'm not clearly not making it up. I didn't know that there was a orange alligator in the roadway by a pillow or something. You know, I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm saying. You know
You're
what I
like,
mean?
there's been plenty of times that I've said, look, I'm creative, but I'm not that fucking creative.
Yeah.
So I know it's not me.
Yeah. And it's basically, all energy is really what it comes down to. All energy, all love, all vibration. And there's so many different mediums out there of different faiths as well too, so it all collaborates down to the energy and the vibration of the universe, back into the beginning and who we are as beings, and then I remember I'm from Boston like you are, of that area. And in that area, everybody's a witch.
Yeah.
I worked in Salem a lot last year, but the year before for a month, and I was terrified because I've never been around witches before.
Yeah.
Right? I really was scared, and I'm like, oh well, it's all about connection, but it depends where you are. I go to India a couple times. As a matter of fact, that's where this picture is. I mean, that's the Himalayan mountains behind me, if you can see. They're not clouds.
Oh, pretty.
So if you go there, you're a goddess, because you're connecting through your meditation to your higher power, with your Atma and your soul, So over there, it's different. So all different parts of the world, you'll see that connection is different, but it's
Yeah.
all the same. It's because man made all those connections, those definitions.
Yeah, different words that are getting to the same idea, about
Exactly.
the truth of who, yeah, like you were saying, but I like to say the truth of who we really are and what our origins are, which I agree with you. We just come from love, like love, consciousness, God, spirit, universe, whatever word someone has for that.
Yes,
But yeah, I
absolutely.
think it all boils down to that same, we're all trying to get at the same thing. We're just viewing it a little differently for sure.
That's right. Yeah. And I think that was the hardest part for me because once I actually fell in love with Tibet and Buddhism when I began my mediumship, because in order for the Tibetans to find the Dalai Lama, they would go into trance
Hmm.
and through a meditation, find the baby and then go find the baby. And so I was like, oh, wow, oh my God, I had to learn. So I learned Buddhism. I was a matter of fact, in February, I'm going to meet the Dalai Lama.
Oh,
Really,
cool.
truly, yeah,
That'll
yeah,
be fun.
in Dharamshala in India, yeah. So I'm excited about that. It's like a highlight of my life because that was a connection for me when I was down and out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the uh, the perception of where my environment, and not just my environment, but the community and what they look at you like, oh, you're a witch, you're this. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm a good person. I'm just me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it is hard, but that was a hard thing for me and for many, 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 many years. Yeah. And
Yeah.
still in my family, there are people in my family that are very close to me who are still closed, and they
Yeah.
treat me different because of it. It's so
Yeah. And
sad.
I think, unfortunately, there's always going to be that
Hmm.
because people are all earthing at different levels.
Hmm.
So there's
Yes,
always going to be
exactly.
the ones that are still, programmed so heavily to think it's demonic and
Oh, and I
this and
actually
that.
think for me, it was immaturity. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because I would think, a couple of the people in my family are in their early 20s that are like that to me. But I'm like, well, when I was their age, I was the same way. That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying for them, I think it's immaturity, but I totally agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all at different levels learning all the time on our journey, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think too, like people see things that they don't understand or they hear things that they don't understand in the immediate, response in their nervous system. Sometimes it's not even a conscious thing, it's to go into fear.
Yeah.
And when you're in fear, well, you're trying to separate yourself from whatever it is. So you're going to label that thing as something bad or demonic, and it separates you from that.
Yeah.
So, I think some people just don't, and it's neither here nor there, good or bad. I mean, everyone's on their own journey, like April said, but I think, it's something that sometimes people aren't even conscious of that they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
all those journeys serve a purpose, right? Even the ones that are dark and, negative or evil, whatever, they still serve a purpose here. And
Yeah.
so we don't really get to say how that's supposed to unfold, but just as equally, ours serve a purpose too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keeps the balance,
Yep, that's
the
right.
negative and the
We're
positive. You
just
gotta
trying to
have both.
balance the scales all the time. Yep, that's true.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, Lee, when I come back up in Massachusetts, we should do a gallery together.
That would be so
That
cool.
would be
I would love
so
Yeah,
fun.
I'm coming back to that area in September.
we should totally do that.
Yeah.
I would be
You
honored
guys
to do
need to
that.
Yeah.
connect, share phone numbers
Yeah,
and all the
that would be
things.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't mind, I mean, you can
Yeah.
edit this part out, April, if you need to, but like if you don't mind,
I'm not editing this out.
well, all
This is
right.
staying.
You can email me. You can
I'm like,
email me. Yeah,
yeah,
you're
I
good.
was gonna
Yeah.
say, like, an email us if you're comfortable. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah,
be fun.
awesome. I love
Yeah, no,
that.
I was just talking to Sheila because she's going to be in Texas. I was like, girl,
Yeah, I'm gonna go see
I'm
her, I
gonna,
think too.
I was
Yeah.
like, if you're here for a minute, I will come see you.
I'm going on
Yeah.
that podcast, Next Level Soul.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to Texas for
Yeah.
Oh, get out. I
that
love
day.
that podcast. That's
Yeah,
So
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 what day
I'm
cool.
did
going
you
to
say
go
it was
that
again?
on the 8th.
Of January?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
cool.
let you
Yeah.
know. I'll text
Yeah,
you.
definitely let me know because if I can
Yeah.
come see you even just for a minute, I will definitely do
Yeah,
that.
that would be so much fun.
I will come say hi. Okay. I
That's
was gonna say, oh, Sheila, I was gonna ask you before we wrap up.
All these connections.
I know,
Ooh.
aren't they
What does Spirit have
fabulous?
wrapped up for us? This is not the last time we'll all be together. I just know
Right.
it.
I think we will have more powwows in the future.
Yes.
Yeah. Sheila, I was gonna ask you, is there any message that you can share with the collective right now?
Hmm.
You mean channeling
Well,
a message or just in general?
just in general, like, is there anything that you feel like needs to come through for our audience, the collective, just
Oh, I see. I see.
something that's, tugging at the front?
Yeah, I feel like don't watch TV. No, I'm joking.
For
No.
real. Turn
Right?
off the TV, stop the
Well, it's
news.
so true. It's really
Yeah.
important that you
Yeah.
really pay attention to what you're seeing on your phone because the energy is coming through so strong of the evil in the world. So if you start feeling yourself feeling edgy, turn it off. Because there is evil and there's negativity and positive in the world, and there's a lot of negative, so you want to stay in the light. So it's really important to pay attention to the energy around you and what you're feeling inside. You have to protect your light and be the light as well too, and make choices. Always know you have choice. If things aren't going out right, make a new choice and start a new path. You're never stuck, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That's what I feel. It's really important, though, that you breathe, you know,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and know that everything is just temporary. Everything's moving forward. And also for me, this is big for me. I always say to my monkey mind inside me, stop living in the past. You can't even change what happened an hour ago. Be more conscious of what you're doing
Yeah.
and concentrate on it though, instead of getting in that monkey mind, and overthinking because we are our minds create that havoc.
Yeah.
And the influence of TikTok and all these negative things that people are saying, it's real. It's energy. Pay attention to the music you're listening to, the words that are
Yeah.
coming out,
It's
because
like
you're
casting
being
spells.
yeah, it really is. And people think they're cool. That's not cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you need to pay attention to that so you can protect your being and your light. It's so important. And everybody should do it, not just mediums, everybody,
Mhm.
because the energy around you is and what you think and what other people say is energy, and you want to stay on a healthy vibration and not on a roller coaster ride,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
for
it
sure.
is true, and I think right now that the our world and the younger generation now are really, really hurting because they don't have the tools of the energy of love and light because they're feeling all of They used to video games, you know. There's nothing wrong with video games, but there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of negativity because people want to be the edge up to make more money. The greed gets in the way, and then the evil comes in, you know what I mean? So, God, I sound like my grandmother. But it's true, but it really is very, very prominent right now. And there's a lot of souls that are having a hard time existing within their own lives that are, you know, everywhere because of the energies in the world and the wars and everything. You know, I'm actually an international Torch for Peace ambassador. I'm an ambassador for peace. And I've been traveling doing prayers. I was in Washington, D.C. and New Jersey just recently, and I channeled a prayer from Spirit for all the world's children, you know, and so that's my mission. That's why I'm going to see the Dalai Lama, you know, and maybe
Yeah.
even go see the Pope too. But that's what I'm doing is my message is to find peace. And how do we find peace? Go outside, look at the sun, look at the moon, look at the earth, observe the flow of the universe and the
Yeah.
energy of the light in the day. That's where your power is, and that's where you'll heal. The universe will heal you, you
Yeah.
know, and it's so important to find that peace because people are having a hard time. You know, religion is man-made. You know, it really is. It's man-made. That's what's important is who you are and your connection inside of your light, you know.
Yeah. Which, like you said, connect with nature, get still, and be
Yeah.
comfortable with it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, go for a walk, go for a hike, go enjoy the beauty of the earth, you know, and you can learn so much just by observing, you know. It's so important, but I'll always know that you're never alone, that the universe is always working for you, even when it's working against you, because it's putting you on a new path. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted to do something recently and I said, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. Well, it didn't happen. Well, the next thing I know, another door opened. So I'm reaching that path through a different doorway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that things aren't working out. It just means that the universe has something different for you.
Yeah.
It has a little different plan to get there, you know?
Yeah. I believe that, which is,
Yeah.
you know, a good practice of not attaching to outcomes too, because you never know how it's really going to unfold.
Exactly. You know, so learning to be and be conscious in the moment is really where your life is at. You know, it's really so if you can concentrate and allow yourself 10 minutes a day to be conscious, like when you're eating, how does it taste? How does it feel?
Mm.
And keep practicing that so you're being conscious a couple hours a day, your life will change. You
Yeah.
know, being in my book, Forensic Medium, The Power of Unseen, I have 5 meditations in there. And part of that, yeah,
This one.
and part of them, there's like pranayama, which is breath,
Mm.
you know, nasal breath. And so breathing the energy. And so I always tell a lot of people I notice have anxiety these days, you know.
Mhm.
I tell them, pay attention to how you're breathing because
Mhm.
you can control that anxiety with your breath. Taking a deep breath, you know, just like that. And then everything changes, you know. But yeah, so there's a lot of darkness, but there always has been. It's just that it's in our face because of television, because of the internet, because of
Yeah. Just
media.
environmental factors
Yes,
that play into
exactly.
it.
So find your space of peace, you know, even if that's closing your eyes and going into a special room in meditation,
Mm.
find that peace somewhere, you
Yeah.
know, and pay attention to your breathing, pay attention to your filters. You know, your being is a computer, you know, so it's important to cleanse that computer and take care of it just as you would your video games, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank
Absolutely.
you, Sheila. I wanted to tell you real quick or ask you real quick, where can our audience find you the fastest? Like, what's the quickest way to get
Uh,
a hold of you?
SheilaMarieMedium.com.
Perfect.
Yep,
Okay.
right on my website. Everything's pretty much there. And yeah,
Okay. I will have that in the show notes, but it's always nice for you to just throw it
yes.
out there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I do have to end it here because I actually have to run out the door in like 5 seconds.
Oh,
But if you guys want to help me say goodbye to everybody, bye
yes.
you guys.
Bye.
Thank
Queen
you.
wave.
Queen Wave.